Our next panelist, Hoijoy TV's technology head, Mr. Alok Majumdar. Eros Now CTO, Mr. Lokesh Chauhan. MX Player Chief of Product for Tech and Operations, Mr. Vivek Jain. And to moderate this session, may I please call on stage Kasim Media CEO, Ms. Ediriwira. The session is over to you, Ms.
Hi, welcome everybody. This afternoon we're going to talk about content protection and how the platforms are actually managing it on the ground today and what they feel are their biggest issues. Consumer video traffic is expected to reach up to 80% of all internet traffic in the next 1 to 2 years.
Already in 2017, globally, more than $30 billion of revenue was lost through piracy, and that is expected only to increase. The expectation is by 2021, that will increase to over $52 billion of revenue lost to broadcasters and platforms. Managing copyrights is already difficult. In the OTT world, that's getting more and more complex. So, can I start with each of you guys in terms of, how are you guys managing your security?
Hi, this is Lokesh. I have technology for Eros. So Eros now is our global OTT offering. We do DRM, offline DRM. Right now that has been the prevention mechanism in place. We are also looking forward to doing encryption over our APIs. So app security on a whole is an area of focus for us going forward. Security for the content is a big problem, I think, for everybody here. And there is no clear solve right now. So it's all evolving, and that's what we are all trying.
Hi. So we at Hoijoy, we have a complete post-production unit, right? So the content production starts from that point. So we have traditional, conventional, security measures, from network, endpoint security, and everything in place. On the streaming side, we are still, working with DRM. Probably we are going to launch it, in next month. Right now we have, AS encryptions, we're working with APIs. For us, yes, the content security is not a major concern, but still, considering DRM is a traditional kind of thing, at the core community, we still treat it as a kind of a cost.
Yeah, so I was just explaining. Effectively, so in the traditional TV, CAS was there not as a tool for protecting content, but as a way to enforce business models, right? That's where the CAS has started. And then we evolved to DRM, even in the connected space like IPTV, and now the DRM becomes the main tool for starting to protect content in OTT. But our message here is that the DRM is not enough, right? That's only dealing with part of the problem. So that's why I think we were discussing saying the same. We need to really bring a holistic approach to the security, which has to be seen from the content production also to content delivery even further.
Hi, my name is Tushar. I'm from Z5. At Z5, we have been investing billions of rupees on original content since about a year now, in not just Hindi, English, but also in all the regional languages. For us, protecting this content is extremely important. And recently we have started evaluating and working with Nagra and other companies to protect it right from the start, which is to fingerprint it at the origin, put in a blockchain system for distribution between our producers and coming up to the OTT platform, which is Z5. We also do a lot of live TV aggregation with telcos, so the way you have to fingerprint is also different. So it's not just at the origin fingerprint and then going across, it's every distribution part. And then of course DRM is one of the most important pieces. So we want to invest in protecting this content because if it just flies away, then the investment that has been put on the content goes for a huge waste.
Hi, this is Vivek from MX Player. Like everyone said, I completely agree. I think the only nuance for us is that in addition to producing original content, we are also aggregating content from a lot of different partners. Each of them has their own set of requirements for DRM. So we have to be a summation of everything that people around us request. Typically, we try to stick with whatever is native and recommended by the ecosystem. So for Google, we stick with Widevine. For the Apple ecosystem, we stick with Fairplay. Even receiving, ingesting, encoding files, we receive via Aspera, which does transport layer security. We also do API level security. So try to do everything as much as we can.
Okay, so let's go through the whole journey of a piece of content, right? Right from content creation through to distribution as well as beyond, right? In terms of the key security parameter, I think, in content creation and the initial distribution, at least to the platforms, is really the watermarking, the fingerprinting. How effective is that really, and how are you using it on your platforms? Tushar, you want to take that one?
Fingerprinting is extremely effective, first of all, to find the source of the piracy. So once you are able to detect where the pirated content is playing, it becomes easy if you have fingerprinted your content. There are two levels of fingerprinting. One is at the origin where you are fingerprinting that it is your content, and then at the level where the user is playing and trying to pirate as to which user is the one from where the piracy was caused. And there is where we feel, and we have seen at multiple places, even when we create our own content, which is episodes. I mean, Z has almost some hundreds of hours of episode coming in daily. We go and upload and fingerprint all these episodes on YouTube so that anyone who tries to upload the same episode on YouTube is not able to do so, even if it is in chunks. So I think fingerprinting is definitely an extremely important piece of technology to use.
So how does that work? How is YouTube able to work out that it's your content and not? So are they actually monitoring and checking all that content continuously?
That is correct. So when you upload the content, you upload it with your fingerprint, and then YouTube creates a fingerprint based on the scenes and frames that are there. And so if anyone else records and uploads it on YouTube, YouTube is able to strike off immediately. It doesn't even go on the YouTube platform. So that is, thankfully, YouTube has, I think they started this about 1.5, 2 years back. And even Vimeo has done it, although Vimeo is not fairly popular in India, but for outside India countries, people are doing that.
So, Diloshan, are we going to see that a lot more now with content, especially with all the OTT platforms investing in original content that is not necessarily available on their broadcast platforms? Are we going to start seeing a lot more of this fingerprinting done specifically to avoid it getting put onto YouTube or torrent sites?
Yeah, that's true. I think we see more and more traction around fingerprinting or watermarking. Yes, so I think we all know that, as he said, people use more and more on the DRM side what recommended by the content owners, like Widevine for Android. But then that's what we call the platform DRMs, right? So when you start using the standard platform DRM and the standard player, then pirates also know how those things works. So there is no proprietary thing anymore you can hide back, right? This is not like CAS. In the CAS world, even the encryption was proprietary. So it's difficult to figure it out. Now everything is naked. So now that's why people think that, and plus DRM is good, but the way people implement DRM on all sort of those devices, we don't know, right? Widevine DRM in a Chinese device may not be that good compared to iPhone or whatever, right? So that's why people believe they need to put up the additional layer of security, which is watermarking or fingerprinting. But what I would like to add here is that there's no point of activating watermarking if you don't have a solid anti-piracy system, right? Why you are watermarking things and putting up all there if you only from time to time you go after and do some check, right? So I think finally the fingerprinting, watermarking together with an anti-piracy service that's active is what makes the difference, and we see more and more, mainly the sports leagues are even advocating these kind of things, and even they are asking even further, they would like the content owners and even operators to really adopt a real security policy for protecting content.
But good point in terms of anti-piracy services. But nowadays, most OTT platforms will put in the DRM, but putting in a big group of people whose job it is to look at all the pirate sites, all the streamed content that is not legal, all the content that's sitting on torrents or YouTube for that matter, or any of the other UGC platforms. How are you guys going about actually, are you doing it yourselves in-house? Are you looking at third parties to help you with that? Okay.
So I think this is something that I said we're all trying to solve. This is an evolution stage. We are all trying to figure out whether do it in-house, whether do it with third party. I think the biggest solve that we need is a single channel approach. The CDN partners, the DRM licensing partners, the cloud platforms, all of them have to come together to stop this menace. We need to have what you would say a single channel window where any of these fingerprinting or watermarking solutions stop the stream at the origin itself. It should be able to identify whether or not this stream or this content belongs to somebody else and this has been illegally obtained and is now routing through our CDN network or is being served through our cloud platform.
But how is the industry getting together to do that? Because this is not related just to an MX player or a Z5 platform. This relates to everybody. How is the industry coming together to ensure that they put pressure on AWS or Azure or any of the platforms to ensure that this is getting closed down? And equally, what is the clout that we have as an industry here in India to ensure takedown notices are taken up by the platforms?
So the conventional way to counter that is time consuming, right? You go with legislative route and all, right, for bring down notices and all. So what we do, we have a small in-house team, right, but the major load is on it's been outsourced, right, because it's not about finding out what are the content that are on the legitimate sites. It's also like bringing them down with a very quickly, right. So that whole workflow is we have outsourced to third party. So I think so far that is the most effective thing that is working in our favor, right? Because I mean it's you need to choose which fight you want to do, right? Because whatever we do, right, people who are going to leak the content, right, they're always one step ahead, right? I mean, it's not only the video; it's all about any information or data which is available on internet, right? So be it a software or a video. So the enforcement is most important, right? Probably I personally think that the enforcement in India is not that powerful. Probably that part if you can improve, right? Because earlier, like even 2 to 3 years back, we used to see like you're getting a court order to send a notification, bring it down, right? It was very complex, and most of the time people actually lost interest to do that. So yeah, enforcement needs to be more proactive probably.
Okay.
So the question is how together we can convince the cloud partners. I think that's a very difficult one. I'm not sure if us as the media fraternity have enough leverage over our cloud partners to convince AWS and Azure.
Just give it time. The moment we hit like 70%, 80% numbers, everybody's going to say, yes, what do you want from us?
No, I mean, they are becoming more and more sensitive to the issue, right? People like Google and Amazon, I don't remember the name of the act, but they have signed that act together, and they are trying to make sure that the international level content sharing is somewhat controlled and managed in that level. But then when it comes to content owners, I think the game should be first focus on the local, right? Because that's where they have issues. So in that perspective, looking at their content and their market, the effort shouldn't be that big, right? They are not there to go after in the global internet and with all sort of web crawlers, etc., to find what's leaking broadly. That's why people like Nagra, we offer this as a service to operators. We do both. We have the global piracy trend monitoring, where we, across all of our operators, all of our content, we have systematic web crawlers looking at what's being leaked out where. And then on the other side, we work closely with each and every operator at market level, local market level, to fine tune the campaign we need to have for them.
So how much can we get the regulators and MIB to help with having the deals at a countrywide level with all the CDN providers, AWS, Azure, to really ensure that enforcement of takedown notices is done in a much more systematic fashion and faster? And it's not just to the cloud providers, it's also down to the ISPs, right? Because if we can block it even at the ISP level, at least at a local level, that'll resolve the issue of streaming within the country. Tushar?
I want to take the last question also a little bit and combine these two together. Fortunately, India is one of the highest growing markets for OTT, but unfortunately, that has caused a lot of competition amongst the players. And there is so much growth on your normal platform that you tend to keep the piracy issue out of the equation. And so until now, there has not been a lot of focus on getting together and pressurizing and building a community which has a leverage over these providers. I can tell you definitely we have a huge leverage. The amount of money that we are paying to the CDN and the hosting providers, I'm pretty sure we have a huge leverage on that. Having said that, all of us need to come in together, because now the lines are very blurry. Earlier the content producers, if you see the broadcast state, the content producers were creating content and they were getting paid for the license because it was a broadcast medium, right? But now it is an OTT medium. The new business models are coming in. Content producers are getting paid on the basis of streams. They're getting paid on the basis of number of minutes that you have watched. And hence, I believe strongly that if not in 2020, then definitely by 2021, once the mad rush has settled down a little bit, all of us will come together and ensure that the growth which we have been seeing from 2017, or rather 2014 up to the 2020, we are able to sustain that growth, and that can only happen when piracy is killed to the root of it.
What about other platforms? See, one is OTT streams, people uploading torrents, people downloading torrents. Then there's a huge number of pirated OTT platforms out there. There are also CPE devices where you can buy Chinese boxes, OTT boxes, which basically stream everything to your house. You buy it, you can buy it on Amazon India's website. Less than 2,000 rupees, you can stream everything. You're basically bypassing all the platforms, DTH, cable, even OTT. What are we doing, as an industry, how are we going to resolve that issue? Hello?
Well, I think it's more about blocking those devices. It's all about give something extra to your customers and all, right? Like give them a easiness, comfort level, how they can find your content easily, right? What they want in a very specific price, right? And good quality of videos and all, right? So that the chances of finding those contents in some other sources will get minimized over the time, right? And create a kind of a loyalty with those people, yeah. Because technologically, like as we're talking about ISPs and all, right? You can bypass any kind of packet right now, right? Whatever counter measures ISPs put, right? You can manipulate a packet and you can push it, right? So virtually that's not the fight that you want to do, right? It's more about reaching the customers, give them what they want, right? And minimize their the effort to find the right content.
If I may complement, right? So effectively, there's a limit for piling up technologies, right? And you cannot prevent a Chinese device coming in, hooked into an IP network, and they are just getting the multicast stream and restreaming over OTT with an online encoding systems, right? So those are the things you cannot prevent. That's why, again, the technologies are good, you can do your best, but when it comes beyond your limit, then effectively, as he said, I think for me, I believe one of the arm we have is really create loyalty, as you said, and create less incentive for your consumer to go after illegal content, right? That's a business model question, right? Why I will spend my time to go and watch content with lower quality when I have everything in at an operator with good quality, right? I think we are at the beginning of this game. We will learn more and more in the coming years. Today we were discussing how to get maximum subscriber into the platform, etc., etc. But as a next step, people will think about how we can convert them into payable customers. And then they will see at that point in time what's the real impact due to piracy. Not only one operator, but all the operators within a region. And thereon, they might group together and create some alianza against this kind of piracies, including influencing major OTT platform players like Amazon, Google. This is how I see it.
I also have a viewpoint on this one. Specifically, now the world is moving to a smart set of boxes. The advent will eventually allow lifecycle management to players like Tata Sky and Airtel to provide what you would say bundling pack. So Binge is already out. It's a solution that Tata Sky built. We are partners there. They're doing the lifecycle management, and effectively you get the bouquet of the entire OTT space available to a user by paying a bundle fee. So this is pretty much similar to how channels work. So effectively, if you are going to get the premium quality experience, because all these boxes, they're predominantly meant for watching on large screen, and large screen content, you want to watch in premium experience, you want to have the high quality audio, the Atmos, DD Plus experience, the vision and the HDR experience going forward is going to become the mainstream. Now, these boxes will not be able to match up to that. And that's where these partner players are going to become more and more important to curtail the habit of going and buying this box for one-time watch.
So, and maybe this is not a popular view, but since we are at MX Player and our approach and our business model is slightly different, we are a free advertisement-based platform. We are mobile only. I mean, of course, we have Fire Stick, we have Chromecast, we're addressing the large screen, but 99.9%, like if we do 100 million minutes a day, which we do, 99.9 million minutes come from Android app. Today, out of these 100 million minutes, and we have some premium content, we have Sony, we have Voot, we have TVF, none of them actually today require a DRM. We have built it. We have built the most advanced security stack to enable any of our partners, but none of them have actually mandated it today. And the view that I hear from our partners is that the same content is on Airtel TV, is on Vodafone Play, is on Jio Cinema, is on MX Player. Does the user really want to take down this content, put it in a sixth place, and then stream it from there? So I think today, I think even you mentioned today, it's about distributing content, grabbing market share. But yes, 1-2 years from today, once people switch to subscription, definitely there'll be a strong wave, and I think that will be the time everyone will start adopting DRM.
And that's also how the other markets evolve, right? I mean, we need to just give some time. If you take US and Europe, they went through all these pain points and process, and now they are effectively activating seriously these techniques because they really see the impact of activating these tools in terms of privacy reduction. And I also believe that maybe somewhere down in the roads, content owners will also start preparing by themselves the content for different operators, right? Because today, this is not the case. We are still in a traditional model where each content owner provide in a medium the content original, and then each and every operator do the preparation and packaging, all the things. But I think with the arrival of OTT, I think content owners have all the interest to do and own that operation, even if it is painful. And they will even add these kind of DRM watermarkings at the origin before the distribution, right? That also will help some point to reduce the overhead that operators have before taking that piece of content and commercializing. So I think we need to just let some time to fly, but I think at the end of the day, I think people will realize, and I'm sure the tools are there, partners are there to make that happen. Yeah.
So this morning we heard that there's a lot of investment being done in unique content for each platform, basically to create differentiation, right? To keep the stickiness with your customers. Now that content is costing a lot of money. It's costing much more than typical broadcast content is taking to make. How are you guys actually going to control and make sure that that content remains unique to your platform, right? Because once it's pirated, it's out there, everybody has access to it. It's the same that happened a couple of years back with Game of Thrones. With the premieres getting I think they got pirated within 3 days, 90 million downloads of that content. How are you going, for all your unique content that you have on your platforms and the investments that you're putting, how are you going to make sure that that content doesn't get distributed beyond your own platform?
To be honest, if that happens to one of my shows, I'll be really happy. Right now, we are in the nascent stage. We want people to actually get hooked onto the idea of consuming content online, and more of these experiments that we are running. So Ross has done the experiment of trying to build content called quickies. So the libraries essentially of content which is sub 10 minutes sort of consumable content. So it's those experiments we are running, and we're all trying to understand what will make user come to the platform. So if one of these things happen and it is so globally available and so many people are actually watching it, that will tell us that this is the kind of content we want to build.
Yeah, so, I would treat, the whole thing in two parts. One is, like the data, right? So, for me, everything is data, right? The moment, the rushes comes from the camera to the studio, it's data. So that security part is a part of the, your data security, protocol or practice that you have in organization, right? When it, becomes a content, right? Yeah, we are completely subscription-based, platform, no free, no trial. Still, I won't mind, if some of those, gets leaked, and we have, like a third-party company to bring it down. But as long as content is concerned, yeah, it's good that, more and more people watch it, right? And they love it, and, they will come and subscribe.
As long as they remain your subscribers.
Yeah. And like our content is on MX, on everywhere, right? I mean, as Vivek said, right? It's everywhere, right? Do we really want to, go through a painful process of, searching, different sites, all this spamware, malware, your machine will get infected, the ads and everything, and then you get a content, or just go to MX and watch it, right? Even if you are not subscribed to Hoichoi.
I think, I think the situation is that, video on demand in India is probably, at least last year, was around $500 million market, out of which 82% was AVOD. I think the AVOD platforms are not obsessing over the DRM. But once this 500 million grows 10x and the subscription takes the bulk of it, that is when DRM will become front and center of everyone's mind. And probably that's not far away. And maybe this is the right time to be evangelizing this thought. But as of today, I think, at least for me, I don't know if for the rest of the people on the panel, we are focusing on driving consumption. And that's why if content leaks, I don't think we sweat so much today.
I think there is where, we need to get together as quickly as possible. This subscription wave is going to come in, but we also need to understand that there are a lot of players who are creating original content, be it Z5, Netflix, Amazon, and various other, Hoichoi, and many other players. And when you have a pirated app where you are consuming content which is pirated, the MX originals are also there without advertisements, where the ads are only, as display ads and not really content ads. And all of us need to understand that if the consumption starts happening on those platforms more and more, it is going to get difficult for people to bring in these users back into your own platform. So content security, in Z5's opinion, is at the core of our technology. We need to secure at every level. We need to make sure that other than securing it, we have a partner who is able to find where the leak has happened and shut down the stream or the service itself. So with our legal team, we have shut down at least 7 or 8 apps from Google Play Store. We have shut down almost every third day. We shut down a stream which is running on various websites. There was a website who was trying to put our embed player into there and run advertisement all around for free content. Easy thing to do, but yeah, we were able to shut that down. So there is a lot of investment that we are trying to make into setting this up, and we urge everyone in the industry to come up as soon as possible and not leave it for the later half of the decade from 2020 onwards, so that and when all of us are together, it's a very different force. It can push, it can pull, it can create the awareness amongst the users also.
Yeah, there should be a collective approach.
Done. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the panelists. Any questions?
Hi. Hello.
So what role can the telco play? Is that a question again? Sorry.
Hello. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it's not working. My name is Nitin Narkhede. I am founder of a company called as Mink, which Anil actually mentioned in the morning. I was just wondering, are you trying blockchain as a mode to actually prevent the security or strengthen your security in the platforms?
As of now, Z5 is trying blockchain, but that is more on the production side. So from the content creator side, because the content is getting created at multiple places and then getting aggregated at one place, to ensure that the content reaches us from the right source. So that is where we are currently using blockchain and not for distribution.
Right. So I think that is a more simpler part of it, more easier part of it. But if you actually try to look at how it can solve your security problem, I think I would like to hear the challenges that you're facing if you are actually looking at it.
So we are looking at some ideas around how to combine blockchain with some of the techniques we have in DRM, but we are not fully there yet. So we need to, it will take some time, but I agree that maybe there are some interesting places to look at here.
I would just say I don't know of any chain which can take the load right now. The consumer side of thing, the way it is growing, I think blockchain as yet, the way I see it, is still behind. The part which needs to catch up is to have that sort of scalability at chain.
Hi sir, thanks for your insights. I want to understand from a technology perspective, how do you analyze the product market fit for any UGC platform? How do you analyze the product market fit? From a technology perspective, please.
I don't know, do you think UGC content needs some DRM or? No, I think today, so we are mainly looking at pay TV operators and content owners. For the user-generated content, there were some thoughts about watermarking them or fingerprinting them to not to lose the identity, but I don't see that mainly considering the amount of user-generated content out there.
Most UGC creators are looking at virality. So they're very happy if people are taking this to other platforms and just sharing across on WhatsApp. To be very honest, this particular panel and this particular topic right now is not the use case for UGC.
And probably the WhatsApp is the biggest UGC, the platform, right?
Yeah, I think maybe the focus of the panel is DRM. MX Player is actually launching UGC in the coming quarter. So maybe we can discuss it offline after.
Do we mean to say that we don't want to draw any inspiration from UGC? Because do we mean to say that?
I'm saying that maybe the focus
it's just an open-ended question. I'm asking, do we mean to say that we don't want to draw any inspiration from UGC content for the OTT platforms or videos?
We are actually doing that, at least uniquely for us at MX Player. In the coming quarter, we will be launching what is called both PGC, professionally generated content that is curated, for example, going after influencers on whether Instagram or TikTok and curating their UGC content for MX Player, as well as full-blown UGC that YouTube does. We are exploring both, and I think there is synergy between long-form, premium, OTT, as well as short-form UGC. And maybe we can discuss that offline as this different topic.
So much. Yeah, Anil Vanvari. Just curious, where are the leakages happening? Have you all studied where exactly are the leakages happening in terms of piracy? Is that a focus area, or you're just looking at tracking wherever the leakages have, wherever it's placed, and then taking it down?
The leakage is happening at various places. It's happening, as of now, we haven't seen any leakage happen at the creation and the production side. Thankfully, our people are all fairly honest. But there is a huge amount of leakage happening since the TRAI ruling came for linear TV. So linear TV leakage is happening right from a Castbox and from OTT. There is a leakage happening at the screen recording level through HDMI hugely. We were able to take down some of the, about 3 who were screen recording through an HDMI from our AFS app. And it's happening at various places. You know, token is being figured out. The secret key of the token is being figured out. People are doing that. There is authorization. You know, there are a lot of people. There are a lot of hackers who are attacking your password service to hack into passwords of premium users and are then taking the DRM based content from there. So it's happening at every place. And a lot of hackers are coming from India and our neighbor on the west and the neighbor on the north. So yeah, there's a huge amount of.
Yeah, so I'm continuing my question. So I saw your show Rang Raz on torrent sites. I've seen it there, available freely. I'm also seeing all the Netflix shows and Amazon shows on torrent sites. Despite all the investments in DRM, despite all the investments in security. So is it really worth protecting, because the guys who get it, they are not getting the 1080, they're not getting the 4K, they're getting the 720p feed. So is it worth going after that? Anybody else on the panel? Yeah.
The analogy I would draw is that we hear about robberies happening in many homes. Should we lock the house? Yeah, hell yeah, we should do what we can do. And then if a robbery happens in the neighbor's house, doesn't mean I shouldn't lock mine.
I think the way I think about it is that the idea of having the premium experience needs to be inculcated, and that culture of paying for that premium experience needs to be helped by all the possible ways, be the content security aspect of it and the quality of production as such. So putting it, technologies like Atmos is going to make huge difference on a person who wants to watch on his large screen TV with his Atmos enabled soundbar. That's not something he's going to get out of a bad stream.
But I've seen 22 GB files on torrent sites. That includes everything, the full Monty. Everything, sound, surround sound, 7.1, whatever you want. So it seems like almost like a thankless, heartless pursuit of the guy who wants to pirate is going to pirate anyway, no matter how much no matter how much Diroshan attends IBC or SCES, he's going to get hacked. His DRM is going to get hacked because they're out there.
There is a lot of worth in protecting the content. If you don't, as Vivek was saying, everyone is going to start pirating, right? It's very important to do that as industry.
I think.
Do you think it's worth it? Yes, it is worth it. It is worth it, and we should try and make through technology as difficult as possible for people to know. And they should be, they should be afraid that if through technology they could be found out. So yeah.
I'm just going to tell you, I was speaking to a player guy in IBC. I met him also, but I went past him when he was in his stand. Player guy, one of the engineers, he said, I can take down any of your OTT platforms. I can take content from many of them. And he's an Indian. And he said, it's my job to make sure that I can hack into these guys. And he's an engineer from one of the player guys, and I'm not going to identify who he is. So it excites him to do it.
So we can only do mitigation as of now. The inflection point of AI taking over and it being proactive rather than reactive is what we all are hoping for.
Get the ISPs involved. Get the ISP involved. GeoBlock, like you have the ISP. There's enough of a good act. There's an Internet Act which allows you to protect your pull down the damn site. I know there's litigation. She said it takes time, etc.
So that's reactive. That's exactly what I'm pointing to. The AI needs to take over this part of identifying and reporting, and the ISPs and the partners, whether it's cloud hosting partners or CDN partners, they need to respond to those signals and take things down ASAP rather than waiting for a court order to come in.
That's a good solution.
Thank you. Dan, any other questions? One last one.
I am Vivek. How do you see the subscription-based model growing up in spite of the advertising model? The question what I have is like what we talked about piracy and stuff and revenue model getting lost around. Is it a proposition where ads takes we show more ads to subscribers and subscribers doesn't need to pay, because now the subscribers are actually hooked to the concept of free content. Yeah, asking them to pay for and the charges are quite high. Is not probably not going to work in India probably. So rather than saying a 30-minute time slot or a video or a content, we show 3 or 4 minutes of personalized good ads, and that pays for it. It might be a win-win for both the parties, for players like you, for players like the users. What do you guys think over?
Maybe last question. I'll try to wrap it up quickly. I think, so obviously we believe in advertisement model, what you are highlighting. I think both, there are challenges on both sides. On the advertisement side, the reality is that the supply of content, is growing. The internet base is growing. So a lot of videos are being consumed. But at the end of the day, the budget that the brands have, their marketing budgets, is only growing as fast as the economy is growing, and hence if the requirement for ads is not growing at the same rate, the eCPM keeps coming down. And for the last 3-4 years, the video eCPMs have just drastically dropped. So even the ad business model is not easy. But yes, I think as of today, as I was saying, out of the $500 million last year, I think YouTube alone made, YouTube's on a run rate of 3,000 crores is what everyone believes. So bulk of the market today is advertisement, but I'm very bullish that the next 5 years we will see subscription in India.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Please, round of applause to all the panelists.
Well, that was an amazing session. Panelists, thank you so much. I would like to request Ms. Ediriwira to kindly accept this token of appreciation from indiantelevision.com. Also, an important announcement, guys. Before we take a break, the lunch will be served at Marbrook on the lobby level. We have an extremely important session coming up next with Viacom 18 Digital Ventures COO, Mr. Gaurav Rakshit.